Well, I decided that I'm going to read a book, chapter a day, and maybe see if anyone likes it. So if you do, let me know, and I'll read another chapter tomorrow. This book is called The Glass Girl. It's by Kathleen Glasgow. 10, 10, 10 for everything, 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 everything. Violent Femmes, kiss off. It's like we're playing again, spinning the bottle, but without the actual bottle. I know exactly how it will go. The imaginary bottle will spin among us in a dizzying way and then slow, eventually pointing to me. Sherry doesn't want to be the one. She says she's not good at it, even though she's only done it twice. She says she doesn't like the way people look at her. Amber says forget it, since she's the only one with a car and license. She drives and says it's enough. If she has to stay sober, then she shouldn't be the one. I'm the ferry captain, she says. I'm navigating the drunken ship. So, not me. She doesn't like drinking anyway. She tried it once and everything seemed okay. She was giggling along with the rest of us in Christine's room, and we passed Dixie cups of creme de menthe around, but she vomited in her lap. We had to undress her and put her on the shower, me volunteering to stand in there with her so she wouldn't fall. I shampooed the chunks of vomit from the ends of her long hair, and she cried. It's a good thing Kristen's mom was at her boyfriend's for the night. We found the creme de menthe on the very top shelf of the kitchen cabinet, the bottle dusty from neglect. It looked and smelled candyish, so we tried it. We were 13. What kid doesn't like candy? Anyway, that was the first and only time for Amber. Kristen is pressed against the car door, pigtails with red brows fluttering in the wind, drifting half-open window. Bella, you do it. You're the best. You don't care, she says, waving her vape pen. That's so disgusting, another yells. Sincerely gross. Everything is gross when you think about it, Karen replies. Who cares? In the back seat next to Cherry, I sighed. The bottle has landed on me. What Kristen said is what everyone says to me for everything in various versions. Bella, you do it. Bella, tell your sister it's time to get off the toilet and come to dinner. Bella, tell your father he's late with the check again. Bella, find out if that guy thinks I'm hot. Bella, I didn't read the end of the book. What happened? So I can write this stupid freaking paper. Bella, Bella, Bella. I close my eyes. I wish I was alone, but I'm not allowed to be alone after Dylan. And I know I should be grateful my friends are trying to take care of me, but sometimes I just want some peace and quiet, no noise, nothing, just nothing. Sometimes it feels like I live in a pinball machine and I'm the scratched up ball being knocked from one nook to the next. Lights blaring, bells ringing. I can never stop the game because I am the game. Amber pulls up to the curb around the block from the store. Some of the red letters on the sign above the store have gone dark, so it reads LCYLQR. Lucky Liquor. Some of the older guys at school call it Lucy Liquor. Me and Lucy Liquor hung out last night, explaining over puffy eyes, bad breath, as if anyone would actually care they were hungover. Honestly, no one ever cares what guys do, only what girls do. Everyone in the car is quiet, waiting for me. I make them wait a few minutes longer, like I always do. This is our routine, it never changes. If Kristen drives, she says she can't do it. And if Amber isn't driving, she says it makes her feel weird and she doesn't really like drinking anyway. So everyone forgives her. Sherry never does it anymore because a gross dude once grabbed her pocket out of her hoodie and ripped it off. It's round and round all the time. Spin the bottle. But it doesn't matter when we play. The pebble of our booze hopscotch always lands on me. It lands on me because they know I'll do it. Bella always up for adventure. Bella will do it. Bella is good at it. Bella will come through. Bella, come on. Karen and Christy held out their money, and I listened to them breathe. Amber's eyes are turned to the left towards the darkness outside the driver's side window, so I can't even see them in the rear view. I think she's mad, but she won't say it out loud. Fine, I say. Fine, you cowards. I snatch the money, warm and wrinkled, in from their hands. Bella, they say. Bella, you're the best. I'm not the best. I'm the worst. But it doesn't matter. All I want right now is to dull the sharpness inside me, the stuff no one can see, the stuff picking me up and making me bleed. I open the car door and get out. These are the rules you have to follow, things you have to remember, like waiting a little bit, but not too long and not too close to the store, or somebody might get suspicious. An older lady in a Lexus pulling into the store, pretending she's there just for Arizona Icy and Altoids. These ladies are the righteous, judgmental, and need to be avoided, even though they'll come out with a plastic bag of wine they probably finished in a couple of hours. I mean, come on. The reason they're at this crappy liquor store in some crappy neighborhood is so nobody will know or sees them buying all that wine in their neighborhood. Because they drink a lot and don't want anyone to know how much. And there's always some old suit heading inside, frowning at the girl on the sidewalk, me pretending to check her phone. You need something, you might say, his bald head shining. You lost? Even though that's not really what he's asking, you can tell because they always look you up and down. You can pick them. They want to walk you back to the car. Make sure you're safe. Check out your friends. Be pervy. They probably have daughters and would die if they knew that their daughters did this. We're all someone's daughter. You have to choose carefully. It can never be a lady unless she's slightly disheveled and kind of dumpy. Flannel suit, flannel shirt, cigarettes and pocket flip-flops, which signifies she doesn't give a damn. She might do it, say. You be careful with your party. Now, as she hands you over the bag, don't get into any trouble. It could be a guy in his 20s, maybe, but not too cool, not too slick. Maybe lonely looking, taped eyeglasses, t-shirt with inscrutable cultural references, dirty sneakers, but you can't let him think. He can't walk back to the car with you or get your number, and you can't talk to him too long or it turns into a thing, which did actually happen once and ended up with Kristen literally catching the guy's fingers in the car window as she fiercely rolled it up, calling us names, and Amber hitting the gas. We screamed hysterically in the car, and everyone's voices blended together in high pitched, but soon enough we were buzzed, not Amber, and laughing hysterically. That's a kind of nice thing about drinking. What seemed to be one thing becomes an entirely different thing once you're drunk. That can also be bad, but I'm trying to stay away from bad stuff and thoughts like Dylan, which definitely was a situation where one thing became another and not in a good way. That was the night I had what Kristen refers to as Bella extremely unfortunate public downfall. Anyway, you need a person who doesn't care, a person going into the store for their own reasons. You want a person who doesn't even bat an eye, just listens to you, takes the money, comes back with your bag and gives you yours, and takes the change and goes back to the car, walks down the sidewalk into the night without even saying goodbye, or were you partying, or be safe, because they've got to get on with the night, too. You need to scope out who is absolutely here for alcohol, who has to have it now, like you, and doesn't mind making an extra 10 for their trouble. You need to make it quick and clean, blunt. I have learned a lot just from the few times we've done it this way. Hey, will you buy me a fifth of vodka? You can keep the change. You want a guy, oldish, hair messy, ball cap, band t-shirt, under sports jacket, shuffling along doing his low-rise Converse, smelling like cigarettes, like one of my dad's friends actually used to be in a band or something, and on the wrong side of the cool now. Maybe, though, he'd be a rock star, but now he's cubicle bound during the day, dreams dead and gone in a blur of Excel spreadsheet. All he's got comes from the store. On the sidewalk, I jiggle my toes inside my sneakers, pretending to scroll my phone, but picking up furtively every few seconds to scope the situation. If I'm being honest, I don't actually mind doing this because I know where I'll end up feeling better, and a tiny part of me gets a little thrill from it. Then I see him. I can tell he'll do it. This guy doesn't give a darn. Eyes on the sidewalk, doesn't care if I'm cute or if I'm not. He doesn't crap about me. He's here for the same thing I am, to get drunk. Right when he's about to pass me by, out it comes. Hey, could you buy me some vodka? You can keep the extra money. I make sure my voice is neutral and my face expressionless. A fifth, not the little bottle. He doesn't stop to stare at me, look me up and down like the guy does in the suits. He's got things to do. He barely stops, nods. His hands have ink on them, and his skin is dry as he takes the money and says, Yeah, sure. There's always that moment when my heart beats too quickly and my hairline prickles with sweat. Will he come out? Will he take off in the opposite direction? I can't chase someone down. Will he come back and walk right by me and give me an evil grin and say, Stupid kid, as he taps the bags and keeps going? That's happened before a couple of times. I track the progress through the barred glass windows of the store. Chip aisle, Gatorade, beer cooler, liquor aisle, then the counter. His lips moving, his nods to the cashier, the bottles being bagged up, and my heart's racing, my palms a little wet. I text Kristen. All good. She texts back. Phew. The gentle ding-dong bell of the doors, he pushes it open and walks across the parking lot to the back edge where I am standing in the sidewalk, half hidden by a shrub. He's got the bag in one hand and the case of beer in the other. The Gatorade above his jacket pocket is making the fabric sag. Cheers, he said, and that's that. He's gone, shuffling down the sidewalk. When I'm back in the car, Kristen and Sherry cheer, but Amber stays silent. Bella, they shout. Bella, our queen. First one's mine, I say, cracking the bottle and pouring as much as I can get away with into my half-empty bottle of Sprite. It always is. Amber's looking at me through the mirror, her eyes darkening slightly. Jesus, take it easy, she murmurs. It's Friday, I tell her. Just chill. Kristen's fingers tremble as she scrolls on her phone. The nights are getting colder, and she's not even wearing a hoodie or anything, just a thin tank top and jeans with holes in the knees. The tips of her ponytails brush against her bony shoulders. People are hanging at Kohl's, she says. At the exact time, Amber and Cherry say no and point to me. Kristen starts drawing her phone to the back of her pocket jeans and jumping up and down to keep warm. We're sitting on a picnic bench in the park, just four girls with bottles of Sprite and a bag of cheese popcorn on a Friday night. Innocence and fun. We won't be able to stay here long. The park closes at 10, and there's some sketchy-looking people drifting around. But for now, we're okay. I take a long sip of my drink, the vodka spreading in my body like a rush of warm water. The feeling I wanted all day. You guys are like hobos, boozing it up on the park, Amber says. One by one, we giggle. What else are we supposed to do, Amber? Sherry asks. There's nothing to do. It seems like such a long time ago that we just stayed in watching movies, practicing cat's eye makeup on YouTube videos, falling asleep in heaps of blankets and pajamas and messy ponytails, and now here we are. This is what we do. The park parties or someone's garage is what everybody does. How did it change? Where and when? This is just kind of life now. There was life before, and sometimes it seems like one day I woke up and everything was different. I don't really like to think about it, how things change so suddenly, because then I'd have to think about Laurel, and thinking about her feels like being squeezed by a very large, mean person. So tight I can't get away, and I can't breathe. How long is she going to be on that special probation anyway? This is getting old, Kristen turns to me. Can you just get over him already? I raise my head and take a long drink of my vodka, as Sherry calls it. The combination of sweet and strong feels good, and it goes down, and I just start to loosen. Sometimes I'm so wound up, I think my body is going to crack into a million pieces. Okay, not sometimes, all the times. I'm totally over him, I say, keeping my voice smooth and light. I've loved, I've lost, I've learned my lesson. Liar, Amber says, scrolling on her phone. Agree, Sherry says. I saw you staring at him yesterday in the back courtyard. You looked ready to cry. Her hand on my back is gentle. The tiniest pain curses through my heart when she does that, so I take another sip and move slightly to make her hand fall away. You can't go to parties until we're sure you won't flip out again, Amber says, looking from her phone. The last time was bad. It was kind of funny in retrospect, Kristen says. Bella is extremely unfortunate. Public downfall. She takes out her vape pen. Can we talk about that, please, I say? Can we not talk about that, please? I say. My stomach is tightening. The memory of Louis' parties is still lazy. I can only remember the blurry patches, the heat of too many kids, too small a house, music from tiny speakers, a keg in the galley kitchen, dancing Dylan in that sweater of his that I loved. The green one we found in Tuscan's thrift, the one that I felt as so soft when I leaned my head against him. His hands in his pockets, bending close to that girl, Willow, in the way that her hair fell against her cheek as she leaned in to hear what he was saying. Standing there, kids bumping me, slushing me, drinks, and yelling. I remember what Dylan said when we broke up with me in the parking lot of our high school, and his eyes traveling where he met. He said, "You're just too much." At Lewis's party, I watched Dylan's fingers tugged at the ends of Willow's hair gently. Something splintered inside me. After things got weird, Amber touches my hand. "Hey," she says, "we're just looking out for you." I nod, breathing deeply, take another drink. "Don't point that towards me," Sherry tells Krista, waving her hand in front of her face. "My mother will kill me if she smells anything weird. I'm already going to have to Febreze the hell out of this jacket." Krista makes a face. "Just take me to Cole's, please," she begs Amber. "I'll get a ride home. Love you, Bella, but we shouldn't have to suffer just because of your broken heart." "Thanks for the support," I say sarcastically, giving her a thumbs up. "Fine," Amber says, "but Bella stays with me." We watch Kristen weave up to Cole's house. He lives in the foothills, a fancy sprawling place with huge windows and a glossy heated pull-out back. That might make him sound like some popular rich kid, but only the rich part is right. He's just a kid whose parents didn't care if he parties. They buy the alcohol and they leave for the night. And at that point, it really doesn't matter who you are at school. If you have the drinks and an empty house, people will come. I don't even know most of the people at these things, and I supposedly go to the school with them. I can't help it. But my eyes scan the packs of kids outside of the house for Dylan. Sherry says, "Sorry, I don't want to waste that night either." She jumps out of the car, running after Kristen. My heart drops when I see our bottle of vodka in her hand. I check my vodka, not enough. I climb into the passenger seat. Amber looks at me. "It's cool," I say. "If you want to stay, I'll behave. I will." Part of me hopes she'll say yes so I can look for Dylan. She shakes her head. "Nah, you're not ready. I gotta get home anyway. My mom needs a car for her shift tonight, and I'm on Lily duty. You can stay over if you want. We can couch." Couch means hanging out in her living room, watching movies on YouTube, eating junky snacks, but no drinking. That's not allowed in Amber's house. "Not tonight," I say. "I should probably just go home, hang out with my mom. I have work tomorrow." "Okay." It takes about 20 minutes to get from the foothills back to Midtown. We're on River Road, which is curvy like a beautiful roller coaster. Amber's careful driver, and the car's headlights illuminate the prickly pears on the side of the road, each one an eerie, spiky green ghost. It feels almost like we're floating in a dreamland, a weightless, half-glowing thing. I sip my vodka slowly, savoring it, being careful I don't have too much in front of Amber, or she'll get weirded out. She's being quiet right now, and it's peaceful. I feel like if I could just stay in the car with Amber forever, slightly buzzed, feeling warm and safe and lost, that would be perfect, but I can't. Amber turns down my street. My brain says, lie to her. My heart says, oh, Bella. Casually, I say, "Ashley, can you just drop me off at Laurel's? I forgot my mom asked me to check out the house. You want me to wait and take you home? I can come in. I love Laurel's house. I miss it. I miss her." The last part kind of whispers. All my friends love Laurel. Who wouldn't? She was semi-famous in a way that they didn't fully understand, but that seemed cool. She took us to the mall and brought us earrings at Claire's and makeup at Sephora and laughed at all the horny things in Spencer's with us. She asked to listen to our playlist, and she actually did. They were all really nice to me after it happened. Of course they were, because they were my friends, but after a bit, it kind of felt like they moved on. and I was somehow still standing in the barn at Agnes's, staring at my beautiful, cool grandmother in a black and white photograph on the table, surrounded by candles and incense and sage and cameras and postcards and Polaroids and flower petals. My little sister's hand tight in mine, and our parents argued in the corner. Those Polaroids I took from the barn, people sent them to us from around the world when they heard about Laurel. The test shots she do before a session for lighting angles to get people loose. I have a whole stack of photos complete with strangers in my dresser drawer. Some people wrote in white borders, Laurel captured my soul. Laurel was a beauty in me when I saw one. Some of the people are incredibly famous, or were, and some are just people. But Laurel made them seem to matter to like more than that. This squeezing is starting, and I hold my breath. I shove my Sprotka bottle in my backpack so I don't have to see Amber's concerned eyes. No, I'll be fine. Text me later. Tell me what you're watching. Am I slurring? I don't think so. So I bite my lip a little too hard, and the sharpness helps me focus. Okay, she says. Hey, you know what? What? We should look at the map again soon. Go over our savings. I've got 1,500 now. You? The trip, the math, and Amber's wall in her tiny room, red pens for weird attractions like the world's largest tin family in North Dakota, constructed entirely of empty oil drums, blueprints for tutorial landmarks like the Grand Canyon, which neither of us have ever seen, even though we only live 6 hours away. We've been planning this since we were 11, and everything was locked down. Like maybe someday when we could go out in the world again, we'd really make it worth it. Buy a car together when we were old enough. Spend the summer after graduation driving around, sleeping in hostels and camping in tents. Seeing weird things and beautiful things and meeting weird people and beautiful people. And maybe people who are beautiful because they're weird. Just two girls in a car, out in the world, before whatever comes after high school happens. Amber walks the dogs in our neighborhood to make money, scooping poop into bags while holding the leashes of barky terriers and lustrous retrievers. I have us tables at a place whose signature dish is a hamburger with 3 patties, 6 varieties of cheese, 10 pickles, 3 habanero peppers, and a crunchy layer of batter fried onions on top. And if you finish it, you get a bumper sticker that says, I ate the pepper patty at Patty's place and survived. I hesitate. I had a setback laptop that went haywire. went haywire. I just have 800 now, but I'm being careful with tips, so I'll make it back. I will. The laptop is hidden under a pile of old clothes in my dresser at my mom's house. The screen shattered, half the keys missing. My mom refused to buy a new one, so I used some of the tips I saved and went out and got refurbished one, since it was cheaper. It was a bad night, the night of Louis' party. Like I said, the details are a little muddled. When I try to catch distant memories of what happened, they float away from me, like fluff on a dandelion after you blow it. Usually I remember everything, well, almost everything. Sometimes the memories are like a book with pages missing. But the night at Louis was different. It kind of felt like I had tripped into a bottomless well, just falling, and no place to land. And then things just disappeared at some point. The laptop was a casualty, obviously. I threw it or something or hit it, and that's what made my mother wake up and come to my room. The noise, and then she found me in that. That was that. I was too messed up to pretend. I wasn't messed up, so not only are Amber and my other friends keeping me on a tight leash, so was my mom. Amber smiles. No worries. We've got plenty of time. Hey, I found another cool place. It's called Bubblegum Alley, and people have been sticking their gum there for years. Can you imagine? It's in California. It's like 50 feet long. That's disgusting. And somehow fantastic at the same time, I say. Excellent addition. Good find. I step out of the car carefully. Bella, Amber calls. I turn back, lean down on the open passenger's window. I'll be okay. The Dylan stuff, you just need some time. Remember how long it took me to get over Caleb? I remembered there was a lot of crying and couching, and eventually Amber became Amber again, positive, clear-headed, focused. But the big difference between Amber, Caleb, and me and Dylan is that Amber broke up with Caleb. He didn't dump her, she dumped him. She didn't have to stand in a parking lot in front of half the high school while he told her she was too much. His friends flamed behind him like a giant collective protective squid. Oh shit, she's crying. Dude, we gotta get out of here. Dylan, man, chill. It's done. Let's go before she loses it. Dylan's Squid Squad had their phones out just in case, though, because there was nothing better than posting a breakup meltdown. I had to stand there and take it, or my freakout would be posted everywhere within seconds. I had to pretend I was nothing. A ghost, no feelings, no expression, just whatever. Okay, be cool, Dylan. You know, whatever. Have a nice life. And I walked away. As I walked away, he said, take care of yourself, Bella. Unaware that inside I was disintegrating, shattered by the casual name in his voice. Yeah, I tell Amber, trying to smile, biting my lip again, to make sure I don't slur anything. I know, I'm good. It's cool. She hesitates. Maybe take it a little easy tonight, okay? She means this Brodka. Did I slur? Oh, for sure, I say quickly, because the best thing to do here is just to get into Laurel's as fast as possible. I'm going to ditch this inside and then head home. Love you, B, she says. Love you too, A. There's a part of a brick wall leading up to my grandmother's house that I always avoided. I've learned to count how many steps it is to her front door. On the 15th, I know to swerve off the path and return only when I know it's time for step 18. A little part of me goes always blanks at the step 15 and comes back to life at step 18. I know nothing will happen if my secrets land on those particular bricks, but it still seems wrong. It hurts knowing what happened there. I exhale deeply as I unlock the front door, a blast of warmth hitting me. It's November in Tucson, so the nights dip down into the 50s and the stars hang crisply against the dark blue night. My mother still hasn't turned off the gas or the electricity or changed anything in Laurel's house. It is still Laurel's house. 5 doors down from ours, just like she left it, but she's going to come back any minute from a trip she forgot to tell us she was going to take. She's not coming back. Each time my dad tells my mom it's time to put the house on the market, her face turns ugly with a mix of sadness and anger. You don't get it, she tells him. You just want the money. Haven't you had enough from me? And then my dad shuts down, and then my mom shuts down, and then Richie amps up, starts biting or hitting or yelling or kicking the dishwasher, and then, Bella, calm your sister. Bella, tell your father it's time to leave. Bella, tell your mother I'm out of here. I unlocked the front door and walked straight through Laurel's living room, past her pretty vintage robin blue egg velvet couch, past all the pristinely framed black and white photographs of my mother as a child that first made Laurel famous, the ones I usually like to stop and look at for a long time. My mother, frozen at 4, 7, 10, skin luminous and ethereal, in the words of upstate New York, her body like some sort of marbled girl ghost. Sometimes I look at my mom now and try to find that girl in the photograph, the one whose eyes stared out fiercely, who seemed not just a girl, but an otherworldly entity, brave and powerful even in her smallness. I'm not sure I see her now in my mom's matted, hastily pulled back hair, in her eyes which have seemed like so sad for years, and even more now that Laurel, her mother, is gone. I wish I could find her. I feel like we could have been friends, that girl and me. I head straight to the kitchen, to the pantry, which is also still the same boxes of tea, canned soups, bags of rice and pinto beans, and canisters of incense and flour, and the endless bottles of gin and vodka and vermouth and brandy and schnapps. We don't have to go out and shoulder tap at Lucky Liquor. We could have come here. My mother never comes here, but I don't want them here. I love sharing Christine, but they get loud after a while, messy. Something about them being here would ruin it. Maybe the stillness. It's my place. I've never sat I never sit in the living room because that makes me lonely. Seeing her empty lounger and the tray table where she'd set her dinner while she watched TV. Plus once Miss Rabinowitz saw the lights on and came over and knocked on the door to see if everything was okay. I had to stand there for like 10 hours listening to her yammer about her cat and her bad back, praying the whole time she wouldn't notice I was a little drunk. Such a nice girl to watch over her house. She loved you so much. Miss Rabinowitz had tiny, kind eyes behind her giant glasses. One hand stroked the thick white braid resting on her shoulder, and when I saw the tears starting, I almost lost it. So I told her I heard my phone ringing, and I shut the door practically in her face. You'd think an old lady like that crazy, like that cozy romances or historical stuff, but Laurel liked murder, especially true crime. I feel like after she stopped being a photographer, she should have had a second life as a detective, really, because she could solve half of the stuff on forensic files within the first 15 minutes. All the people she'd say, nobbling, nibbling cheese and crackers, her delicate hands shaking like they always did, have a darkness inside them. You just need to dig a little. I passed the hallway, heading to the bathroom and then the bedrooms. One was Laurel's bedroom, one was for me and Richie if we stayed over, and the other is where she stored her photo archives. I don't think she'd like to go in there much in her own anymore, but sometimes she'd let me look through her files, which I could do for hours. She made a lot of money at one time, photographing actors and rock stars. Sometimes she'd tell me little stories about famous people she met. I walked to the kitchen to sit in the long, old-fashioned wooden lab table she found at the 22nd Street Antique Mall. Her favorite place to wander for hours before driving got hard and she couldn't get there. She and I would play Scrabble on this table and backgammon or go fish. Just a bit, she'd say, pouring me some schnapps. Something sweet for my best girl. She never gave me too much, just enough to send prickles of pleasure down my spine, even to make me feel somehow better. Our last game of Scrabble is still on the table. I get a glass, some ice, and pour myself some vodka, add some Sprite from the can, sit at the table, look at the leftover words. Apothecary, Holden, you hush. I pull my phone from my pocket. My mother texted me 3 times. I ignore her. Kristen and Cher posting from the party. Hazy highlights behind them, glassy faces. I zoom in. Is Dylan there in the background? I don't see him. I check his stories, my head pounding. Nothing. Once he told me I was the coolest girl he'd ever known. Pressed me against the lockers at school and kissed me. Didn't draw my hand when his friends came around. I told Laurel about Dylan before my mom even knew. She shifted letters on her holder and looked at me. Romantic love is dizzying and wonderful and frightening and lovely, but don't let it obscure you. Her sea blue eyes were serious. The charcoal eyeliner lopsided at the corners. It was hard for her to apply with her hands, so shaky, but she was determined to do it every day. My grandmother was an artist. Everything she said was fascinating and strange to me. I didn't understand what she meant then, and I'm not sure I do now. Maybe I will when I'm older. My stomach tightens. I wish she was here at this table with me right now. I wish I'd never. I close my eyes and drink. Move letters around on the Scrabble till the holder I could spell douse. Once I asked Will about my mother and father and why he was and who he was and where he was, and she just said sometimes you can't take people to the places you need to go. I wonder if Laurel was ever too much. She always liked me because just as I was, I drink, drink, drink. It's so quiet here. It's the only quiet place I know in my world of noise. I brush my teeth before I leave, careful to rinse off the toothbrush. I wash the glass dry, put it back on the kitchen cabinet. I pop 3 mints just in case. Pinch my cheeks to feel more alert and less woozy. Fill up my vodka bottle again, shove it in my backpack, make sure the lights are off and the door is locked and everything is just so. Outside, the cool air feels good on my skin, sober me up a little bit. When I'm 2 houses from ours, I can already hear Richie long whines and cries of, "No, I don't want to go." I take a deep breath and I open the front door. I'm so glad I have something inside me to blunt out all this just a little. My mother's standing in the living room, her face exasperated and pink, hands on hips, as my little sister rolls around on the floor, clutching her tablet. I close the door. Mom swivels towards me. "Where were you? I texted you." The house smells like overcooked noodles. Macaroni and cheese is the only thing Richie will eat right now. And she likes the noodles so soft she's practically dissolved with her fork. "With Amber, I told you this morning." She sniffs the air. "What's that smell? Were you smoking?" I drop my backpack on the ground. My brain says, "Tell her it was Kristen. She doesn't like Kristen anyway. Kristen vapes." "I don't. You know that." "Was there any drinking?" "We made a deal, Bella." "Ah, yes. The deal. After Louis' party, no drinking, no parties. Nope. Want to smell my breath? I open my mouth. My mother considers me. "If you want to pretend nothing is amiss, pretending is amiss, like you have nothing to hide. I'm a good girl. I get good grades. I do a lot around the house. I have a job. I keep everything together. I've survived death and divorce. I've had a little help with my unfortunate public breakdown. That's all." I keep my eyes on my mother's face as I say, "Mom, come on, honestly. You know how I feel about Kristen." I shrug. I'm safe. My mother's dislike of Kristen will override any suspicions of me. Also, she's too focused with Richie right now. Her shoulders sag. I need help. She only lasted half the day at school today, and I have a deadline, and I can't miss it. Can you? My mother is a writer for a weird daily radio show based in another state. In 7 years, she's never met her boss in person, just exchanged emails and phone calls and Zooms. With the producer, they sent her ideas for stories like about aliens in Roswell, or how a famous Hollywood actor has cryogenically preserved his mother in a mansion. She researches all the theories and news stories and then writes up the content. And the radio bus, some guy named A.W. Stryker does a show about them. I like listening to it. It's a trip. He gets dozens of calls in every episode, and believe me, like Laurel said, people really do have darkness in them and a lot of time on their hands. It's a very popular show, but the host is weird and sometimes switches up the topics at the last minute, leaving my mom to work and write late nights. I know she wants to do something else, like what she'll do sometimes call real writing, but it's the only job that lets her deal with Richie. Richie's a lot of work. "Richie," I shout, standing above my sister. "Ten, hut!" She stops rolling and pops up, standing at attention, tablet wedged under her arm. "Sergeant, sister, are you ready for bed?" "No, ma'am, no." "Sergeant, sister, we ready for bed after 30 minutes of cat videos and 3 Oreos and 1 glass of milk. Major Mom is on work detail and must be released, or it's the stockade for her. Do you want that to happen to Major Mom?" "No, we don't." "Do we understand each other, Sergeant, sister? This is your captain speaking." My sister straightens her shoulders. "I'm ready, Captain." Then forward, 1, 2, 1.